Hello everyone! Did you know about 50% of people don't budget their monthly expenses? Yes, I'm talking about you. Well, today you're in luck because I will be telling you why you should create your own budget and going step by step on how you can create your own budget. For those who don't know me, my name is Ryan Banks and my channel is about financial tips and tricks that you can bank on. And I post videos every second Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern. And for those who are new to the channel, you should hit that subscribe button at the bottom right corner of your screen because you're going to be able to follow my great future content I have in store for you. So the first thing you might be asking yourself is, well, what is a budget? A budget is a breakdown of your income and expenses on a monthly basis. And the reason why people create a budget is to be able to meet their financial goals in life and be most likely more financially stable. So good examples of financial goals can be a variety of things, but the main ones are enough money to put for a down payment on a house, to buy yourself a car, or save enough money for you and your family to have a nice trip, or even in my case, I'm saving enough money for my wedding next summer. So whatever you want your financial goals to be, if you're able to plan for them, you're most likely be able to meet those goals. And at the end of the day, a budget is essentially a breakdown of your wants and needs. So an example of your need are things that you can't live without, like your rent, your mortgage, food, or even your utilities, and many more things. And your wants are things that you can live without, but you decide to spend on because they make you happy and it's your type of lifestyle. So a good example of this is, let's say you go out and buy your coffee every morning at Tim Hortons, or you eat out 5 times a week. People may classify that as a need because it's considered food, but people confuse them because you're able to go to the grocery store and buy the food there and create it yourself and be able to save money. So this is where people need to prioritize their wants and needs to be able to meet those financial goals. So before I go to the next section on how you can create your own budget, I want to hear from you in the comments of what your opinion is or what your tips are on a successful budget. Now that you know a little bit more about a budget, now let me show you how easy it is to create your own budget. Yes, I said easy. You only need 2 things. The first thing is you need a most recent bank statement and you need something to write down your budget. So this can be 3 different things. First, you can put it on a pen and paper. Second, it can be an Excel spreadsheet. Or third, you can download an app and create your budget through the app. So either option works, but the best option for you is to pick whatever you think is going to be easier for you to understand your budget. So if you're a more visual person, I would suggest for you to write it down on a pen and paper. If you're very good with a computer in Excel, then I would suggest for you to create your budget in Excel. Or if you're more techie and you like things more automized, then I would suggest for you to download an app and create your budget through the app. And the app that I've used in the past is called Mint, where you can link your bank account, and for every expense you have on your bank statement or in your bank account, you will be able to allocate that to every bucket of expense that you create within the app. So for the purposes of this video, I will be creating or showing you how to create a budget through an Excel spreadsheet. So now the first part of creating your budget is to know exactly how much money you bring in every month. And you can see this on your bank statement. So most people get paid bi-weekly or bi-monthly, which means twice a month. And yes, I know if you do get paid bi-weekly, there are 2 months of the year that you get paid 3 times instead of twice. But for the purposes of this video, I would suggest for you to only put it twice, and I will tell you later in the video why that's more advantageous for you. And the next part is to see exactly how much more additional income you have if you have any, and you want to add that up with the amount that you get paid from your paychecks and total that up. Once you know exactly how much money you bring in, you know exactly what your max or what your cap is of the amount of expenses are within a month. And if your expenses are higher than your income, I would suggest for you to cut down, because later on or eventually you will need to take out a loan and it will affect your credit score in the long run, which means you will have a harder time of taking out a loan from a bank if you need one in the future. Now the next step of creating your budget is to list your fixed or your need expenses that you can't live without. So this can be your car payment, your mortgage or rent, your utilities, your groceries, and etc. So now that you know that you've listed all those need expenses, now I want you to go to your bank statement and write exactly how much you pay for those for every month. So once you total all those amounts up, now the next line I want you to add in is an investment line. And I'm telling you to put an investment line before your variable or your want expenses is because I want you to pay yourself first, because I want you to meet your financial goals. So a good rule of thumb is to put about 10% of what you make every month. And if you do that 10% and you start doing this early enough in your life, you can become a millionaire by the time you retire. Now the third step of creating your budget is to list your variable or your want expenses. So this can be a variety of things. This can be, if you like going out with your friends every month or every week, then you can create yourself an entertainment fund. If you like going golfing or going to the gym, you can add those memberships in there. But you want to make sure that you look at your bank statement and list every single line item that you didn't already include that's within your budget. And remember, there's nothing wrong with doing what you love, but you just want to make sure that it's sustainable and within your budget. Now the final section of your budget is to think about your financial goals. So for the purposes of this video, I'm going to say I'm going to want to buy a $500,000 house in 4 years' time, and I want to put 10% down, which is $50,000 that I need in 4 years' time, or 48 months. So this means I need to budget about $1,000 every month to be able to meet that financial goal. So if I go $50,000 divided by 48 months, that's about $1,000 every month. And yes, there is a little bit of a gap of $2,000, but if I invest that money, I'm most likely able to make $2,000 within 4 years' time. So because I want to make that goal happen, I'm going to want to budget or put that money aside every month, which is $1,000, to be able to meet my goal of buying a house. Congrats! We just finished completing our budget, but I want you to review your bank statement to make sure you didn't forget any expenses. And a good example of that is if you have quarterly expenses. So if you do have quarterly expenses, you can divide those expenses by 3. And a good example is if you get your haircut done every 3 months and it costs me $30, then I can budget $10 a month. So you want to make sure that you're as accurate as possible, because if you purposely don't put certain expenses on within your budget, you are making yourself a big disservice. And it will be very tough for you to make your financial goals. So I have a perfect quote for this. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So if you budget correctly, you will most likely be able to have financial success in your life. Now the final step to creating your budget is to review if your income is higher than your expenses. If your expenses are higher than your income, then you need to rethink how you allocate or how you spend your money every month. This means you need to lower some of your want expenses until your expenses equal your income, so you can have a balanced budget and not lose money every month. But on the other hand, if your income is higher than your expenses, the first thing I want you to do is pat yourself on the back because you're within budget. And yes, you do have a little bit of wiggle room, so you can decide what you want to do with that money. You can decide to invest it and put it towards your financial goals, or you can allocate more money towards your want expenses. Now the last thing I would just want to touch upon today is if you do get paid bi-weekly, this means 2 months of the year you get paid 3 times instead of 2 times. And yes, you may have some bi-weekly payments as well, like your mortgage, but those payments or expenses are most likely not higher than the amount of your paycheck. So I consider this as a little bonus to yourself. So let's say for the first 6 months of the year you were doing really well, you were within budget of all your expenses, and on the 6th month you get paid 3 times instead of twice, then I want you to go treat yourself because you did so good for those 6 months. What I tend to do is I allocate that little bonus, about 75% towards my financial goals, and I use that extra 25% towards buying myself something that I not normally would. To conclude the video, I understand it might be difficult for actually taking the time to sit down and create your own budget, but I assure you, it will only benefit you and your family in the long run. And you can consider this as an investment for your future. And remember, you only need two things. You only need a bank statement and something to write down your budget. And you want to be as accurate as possible, as it will only benefit you. So if you stuck around this long, I just want to thank you for taking the time to watch my video, as it's greatly appreciated. If you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, I want you to hit that subscribe button, because you're going to be able to get a notification for my next video that will be coming out, where I will be covering different tips and tricks for you to save money that's within your budget, so that you can meet your financial goals quicker. So thank you very much, and I hope everyone has a great day.